Hey, what's going on? This is Ben with Brent Sound Gear. We're going to go over quick setup tips for those of you that have limited knowledge on how to set up a sound system. If you're renting from us, this is going to be valuable because this is our most rented out package, and you probably have this rented with us right now. We're going to start with the mixer. Pretty simple. There's a power cable that we just plug in. Don't necessarily have to plug that in. There will be some power distribution here that we can go over. That plugs into the wall. We don't power anything up yet. We're just plugging in. This is your master. Typically we'd have that at Unity. That's what the U stands for. That's where you want it. But we're gonna turn that down the whole way. We want to make sure everything is turned down first. And this push button right here mutes it. Mute means there's nothing going to come through that channel right there. So if you have a microphone plugged in, or if you have a cable plugged in, like what we would use here for, let's say, break music or DJ music, or if you just want to play some music, we use that cable. And that means that that channel is 11 and 12, and we can mute it, turn it on or off. If it's unmuted, you still need to turn this guy up to U, or you want to listen to how loud it is. If it's too loud, you can turn it down or turn it up. You also got to make sure your master is up. Again, nothing's powered on yet. We're just going over the basics. So what we can move on to next is, how does the sound get from my laptop through the cable and out from the mixing board so that I can play them over the speakers? Well, right here's how. Flip this on its side here. Those two guys right there, we'll spin it around so you can see it. Main right, main left. All we're going to do is take a cable and we're going to plug that in with this end. That is the female end. And it plugs in right there. There's only one way that it can go in. You'll hear a little snap and a lock. Then, how do we wire it to our subs? Right here is a sub, a powered sub. There's a bunch of connections here. Real easy. We're going to put it in the input. That signal is going to go through your laptop into the soundboard with the two controls, and it's going to be pushed out the back into an input. Then we can push it out of the speakers. Well, how do we connect this speaker to this speaker? Same process. We're going to take another cable, which we have here, and this is all signal, by the way. The power amps are built in, which is great. We're going to say, I need to do an output. Well, what's the difference between through and output? Well, we can go through that if you want, but we're going to stick this in output. If you notice, the connections are similar. They can only go there. We're going to go to output because we want to send an output signal up to this guy, which goes right here. This is a QSC K10. It is a powered speaker. You can also unplug everything and just plug in something here with these same cables if you're renting from us. Also, I want to warn you, make sure that this is in the line position. Mic position is a bad thing because it sends an extra signal to the speaker and you don't have very much control, and it's going to be extremely loud. Well, what are all these weird settings for? Well, if you have a sub like you do down here, a subwoofer, this makes the sound out of this speaker work with a sub. I usually set them to normal because I like everything to be used in the front of the speaker. So I'll keep them at normal. Deep is if you're not using a sub and you want to get some really low end frequencies out of this, and they do a great job. These are K10s. They still do a great job with low frequency. We're going to keep that at normal, like I said. You can go flat. That's really good. Or if you want a little bit brighter tint, a vocal boost, we'll just use the higher register frequencies and it'll make it sound, I wouldn't say more tinty, but more high pitched. That's the best way. This little guy is just an LED indicator. So in the front, you can see if there's a little blue light. If the power is on, it'll show you. If you're pushing too much through the speaker, limit. It will show a limit. That's a good indicator you're pushing too much signal. So how do I fix that? How do I fix it? Real easy. This guy here, you want to turn it down. So right now it should be at 0 dB, also known as Unity. That's what the U stands for. Same idea, U. That's pretty simple. We don't need to do anything over here. And if you use this, it means, you know, you're connecting it to something else, but we're not going to do that for this setup. So there's that. Next we have our power. This is pretty simple. Blue to blue goes in. We're not powering anything on yet. And we plug it into our distribution box here. If you want to put a microphone into the mixer, real simple. You just use the cable, you line up the pins, And remember the mute, remember the unity thing, all that needs to work together. There's your master unity, and you need to plug the actual microphone in. So we're trying to do this all one-handed. There's that. Just a forewarning, there's a switch on the mic, so if it's not working, check that first. What about all this other stuff? Don't really need to worry about it. The blue ones you can probably leave up and down unless you're a little bit more well versed. You can pull some mids out and put some bassy low end or some really tinty high end. Feel free to adjust that as needed. And I think the last thing is just power. All your power is coming from here and going into your distribution. Pretty easy. We do have poles that go in between these two guys. So I have an example of that right there. And this is what your system will look like, but there'll be a pole in the center, and you can DJ or use this for a ceremony service or a worship service or a ceremony for a wedding reception, all of the above. All right, if you have any questions, let us know. You can add more of these types of cables if you'd like to mix two different sources, let's say a laptop or an iPad or two laptops. And we also have wireless mics we can throw in there for you. If you have any questions, feel free to hit up the website and give us a shout, or check your rental agreement. We're on call for you for troubleshooting as well. All right, Ben, Rent Sound Gear. Hopefully that helped. Peace.